And we are live. I always start that. Welcome to the Parents of Queer Kids show. Me llamo Doctora Lulu. Yes, I'm a real doctor and I play one on the TV. How are y'all doing? Today is day one officially of the show. The last time we did this was last Thursday. We had just no one. It was just me talking about the intro, telling you all about the show, what we're going to do, what we're not going to do. But today is the first official episode of the show. So thank you so much for joining us. And today I am joined by none other than my new sister at this point, sister mom of a trans kiddo. Hi, Jenni.
Hello, Dr. Lulu. Thank you for having me.
Jenni, we need to have lunch. We need to
I
have
love
lunch.
that.
I'm going to drive up this way and you drive down this way and let's
Okay, we'll just meet.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so the show is called the Parents of Queer Kids Show, and I'm not joking. This is what the show is about, parents of queer kids. And so, Jenni, why are you on this show?
Well, I am on this show because you invited me.
Yes.
We are LinkedIn buddies. And I said something at some point, maybe commented on something, and you commented back, and we started chatting. And I am the proud mama of really two queer kiddos. I have a kiddo. My daughter is bi or pansexual. She's still kind of, she's not sure, but she knows that she's much more open to that spectrum than just, gay or straight. And so and then I have a son who is 17 and he is transgender. He came out last year. I think it was just a little over a year ago. And before then had kind of come out, he started by coming out as bisexual, and then he came out as lesbian. And then he went through a lot of gender exploration. At the time, he was in therapy for some other things. And I think that his therapist really kind of helped him, give a name and a voice to everything that was going on with him. And it was kind of amazing how as soon as she did and he came out, everything changed. All these things that we thought he was in therapy for probably were just that he was really struggling with, knowing who he was and wanting to come out. And it was an instant difference. Our lives are so much different today. And that's it in a nutshell.
And I have the pleasure to say I have actually met this human being. So I'm so excited. I'm just so happy. I feel like I'm like their Black auntie at this point. This is so cool. Their Black rich auntie. This is so cool. Now, I don't even think I knew that you have not one but two queer kiddos. I don't think I knew that.
Oh, okay.
And I say that because, we have parents out there who can barely survive being a parent of one.
Yeah.
You're a parent of two.
Yes.
Oh my God. So
fantastic.
I know. Before we go into the topic of the day, which is how to create safe spaces in the home for our kids to feel safe enough to invite us into their queer world, I want to talk a little bit about you, just your childhood growing up to when you started having kids. What was your mindset and your take on queerness, period? And I don't know what year you were born. It's not relevant, but
yeah.
I know, but the point is, you're not the same. You're not a millennial. You're not a Gen Z. You know what I mean? Like, you're a different age from them. So what was it like growing up for you and queerness as a whole?
So I live and I've spent my whole life in Oklahoma, and it's a very conservative state with a lot of church. And my parents were, there was probably some homophobia that I didn't really recognize as a young person. I wouldn't say it was overtly, cruel or anything. It just was there. It was just, I heard things like Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. And, but that said, they definitely were a little more moderate. I know that my mom just kind of was like, people just need to do what people do. We should love everyone. She wasn't unkind about it. I don't really honestly think my dad was either, but it was definitely understood that there was something other, different, wrong about that. And I don't know how much of that I maybe internalized, but at some point I realized that I also liked girls. And at that point, I don't know. I guess I thought maybe just everyone did. It didn't occur to me that I just thought everyone did, but that you ended up marrying a guy if you were a girl, and so I was kind of coming of age and wanting to maybe flirt with, hook up with, explore. And it didn't feel very available, or I didn't know how to do it correctly. But those things weren't really reciprocated. I would have really strong crushes on girls. I can think of one girl in high school who I was probably in love with, and I just did not realize that was what was going on. But it just was kind of felt by myself that, like, well, either I'm not that person that they want, or I'm not doing this right, or this isn't how it's supposed to be. So I'll just end up with a man. And later on, I realized that bisexuality is a thing, pansexuality is a thing. I don't know why that never occurred to me, but I actually went to prom with a gay guy because we weren't allowed to go same sex, same gender to prom. So that was in 97 that we went to prom. So he and his boyfriend wanted to go together. So me and one of my girlfriends each went with each of them so that they could go to prom together.
That is creative, very creative.
We did what we had to do, Dr. Lulu.
Yes.
You find loopholes.
Oh my goodness, I'm so impressed with your childhood, because once you said Oklahoma, I'm thinking red flags, right? But it looks like Oklahoma was Oklahoma, but your home was, if not fully accepting, definitely not rejecting. Right?
It was definitely not. I can't say for sure. I think that if I would have come out, I probably would have gotten some heat, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's one of those things where a lot of parents are like, hey, that's fine. We accept it. We don't hate.
Until
love this sinner, hate the sin, whatever that nonsense is. But but just don't bring it home.
Yes, until it's your kid. Yes. I agree totally. Yes. Oh, we love. Oh,
I think it would have gone differently had I come out, but from what it went with, I definitely didn't feel like it was a hostile environment towards.
Yeah, hostile. I have gay friends, and I have Black friends until you bring them home, right? It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I like that you used the word. Yeah, I like the word they use. I like that you use the word hostile environment. But the funny thing though, we'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
But so fast forward to your when you finally discovered that you were indeed in the queer world. How did that go down when you finally told your parents, or did you ever tell your parents?
I told my dad the night. It was either the night before, it was within a week of actually when I was getting married for the first time. I don't think I should have married this guy. I didn't really want to marry this guy. I knew it was not the right thing for me to do. We did end up getting married. We have 2 incredible children, so I'm very grateful that I went ahead and did that. But I think I was scared, and I had realized that this relationship that I had with who was my very best friend, I was absolutely in love with her. And there was this knowing, I'm going to marry this guy, and that means my chance with her is completely gone. Now she is straight, but she did some experimentation, I'll say, with me. Like, we would have some fun times together, but she may, it's a spectrum. She may be bisexual, but she was always going to end up with a man. And, just in that moment, recognizing that this is going to put me in this place, and then my odds of ever being with this person are over, I went through a mourning process, and I called my dad late one night. I think I'd been drinking, and was like, I can't marry this guy. I'm in love with this girl. And my dad said, you're just getting cold feet. And he didn't know any better. He wasn't trying to be unkind. Nothing. I genuinely believe that he thought I was calling him in this panicked moment. And he just gave me the best fatherly advice that he knew how to give. So that was pretty much it. After that, I never said anything.
You know what? Let's give it up for dads, because my dad was not hostile. My dad was like, oh, it's a phase, honey. I was 16. Yeah. Oh, it's a phase, honey. It's gonna pass. And like you said, he was none the wiser. I was none the wiser. I'm like, okay, my dad said it's a phase, so it's gonna pass, so he's gonna pass. Right. I have heard though, talking about your friend, I've heard that there are more women who are more likely to explore
Mhm. Yeah.
same-sex relationships. One, two, in the Black community, there are more bisexual Black women. But also, just going back to what you said, we also have more um, likelihood to live under the radar as heterosexuals, which is what happened with me. So this is interesting to hear about your friend. Was she Black by any chance? This is just me asking.
No,
No?
no.
Yeah. I lived with my ex-husband. I mean, I married my ex-husband. I didn't have those feelings of not wanting to marry him. I actually wanted to marry him. I had a feeling that he was going to be abusive, but it had nothing to do with the sexuality, but I just kept pushing it back because,
Yeah.
during the engagement, I had already like kind of broken it off once and I
Yeah.
still married him.
Yep.
You think, but like you, I have beautiful kids out of that. So you know what? It
Yeah.
happened because it was meant to happen. But yeah, so fast forwarding to you now having children, I guess what we're saying before we went live is it makes sense now that you kind of were expecting it because you already were
Yeah.
fully in it. So how did the first marriage end? And then was it related to your sexuality? And then let's talk about kids, having kids and
So my first marriage ended. It was not related to sexuality, although I will say that my first husband knew, my husband now knows that I am pansexual. But and my first husband kind of weaponized it against me. And again, I think that there was some ignorance there and probably some insecurity on his part. He would say things like, if we would ever fight or there was an issue, he would say, well, you're gay anyway. I don't know why you're with me.
wait,
Yeah,
oh my God, for real?
for real.
My ex-husband just always said all women are gay, all women are lesbians. He said that, and then he just kind of suspected that I was I don't think I ever told him. I did have a mad crush on my friend. I'm going to say her name Keisha because I still have a mad crush on Keisha today. Keisha is happily married, but worst crush on Keisha.
You can have a crush.
The worst crush to this moment, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my God, he weaponized.
And our marriage actually ended for a totally different reason. We're actually alcoholics, and we could not get sober while we were married. We ended up getting sober later, but it's just not a good thing for a relationship.
And for the kids, for the kids. Oh my God,
So
this is interesting. So how did you come to just because we're talking about it, how did you come to the conclusion of the pansexuality? And maybe you can define it to those. Obviously, I know what it is, but since it's coming from you, who is a pansexual?
Well, I'd always thought I was just bisexual. Again, it doesn't even occur to you that bisexual is a thing. Wait, you can be both, right?
Yes.
There has been a lot of bi erasure. Even people like Freddie Mercury, we look at people and we go, oh, they're just gay. And we ignore the fact that no, they were with someone of the opposite sex. And we assume that means they were just hiding it. Because we just really want to box people in, don't we? Well,
yes,
hiding it. So
you have to be. Yes, you cannot
have just. Bisexuality is a thing, and so
it's a thing. And fluidity is also a thing. And you mentioned it about your child, which I think we're going to go to hopefully about gender exploration, which I just thought is a beautiful phrase. So we will get to that in a minute, just that fact. But yeah, it's a thing, people. You can truly be attracted to more than one gender, more than one person. The thing is, are you acting on it? 1, 2, are you acting on it with consent? Number 3, are you acting on it when you're supposed to be monogamous? I mean, what is it? Are you getting an entanglement? What's going on? That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's totally okay to have an attraction. You don't have to act on it. So stop demonizing yourself and beating yourself up because you're attracted to someone.
Right.
That's it. That's my.
Yeah. Then I saw the episode of Schitt's Creek. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, my daughter watches it now. I never watched it.
David talks about, liking the
I remember there was one year she came with me. It was all about Schitt's Creek.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. It's such a good show.
I didn't think she didn't encourage me to watch it. She was like, I don't know that you're gonna like it. I was like, okay.
I think you'd like it. I think you should check it out. There is a scene though when one of the characters, David, one of the other characters has kind of assumed he's straight, and then she finds out he's not straight, and he kind of says something to the effect of, I like the wine, not the label.
Oh dear.
So that struck me. That really hit me. That I never really, we don't just explore these things about ourselves. We don't just ask ourselves, what do I really think about that? I don't know. I don't know why we don't, but it just hit me in that moment. Like, it's just the person. I have no idea. There's times I see someone and I'm attracted to them and I have no idea what's under their clothes, in their pants, in their chromosomes. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I just can be very, very attracted to that person. So whenever I saw that scene, I was like, that's it. That's me.
That's
makes
it.
sense.
And that's what a pansexual is. Someone who is attracted to any body, any gender,
An expression of it.
yes, any version of humans.
Yeah.
And we see two people watching. Please let us know who you are. Say something in the comments so we can holler at you. Where are you joining us from? Do you have any questions for my beautiful guest, Jenni? This show is for parents of queer kids. We're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about because we are parents of queer kids. If you have any questions, please type in the comment section. The reason we came to the show today was to talk about creating safe spaces, and we haven't even gotten there yet. So we have time. So please type in the comment section if you have any questions whatsoever. Jenni, I knew this was going to be a fun show, and it's even more fun than I thought. I love the wine, not the label. Ooh, I'm going to write that down. That's so profound. And it should be. It should be. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Wow. So you find it. So like I was saying, how did you come to that conclusion? When did they hit you? You were just like, oh my God, this is it. Or it was like, oh, it doesn't matter anyway. For those people who are watching this later on, who are going to be like, oh, maybe that's me. Let's give them permission. So how did you get to that point and then give them permission to be themselves?
It was probably a slow burn. I mean, I probably realized it over time. I had so many things going on in my life that my sexuality was just like not the top priority. And I don't know. I just thought, well, this is me, you know? And again, I definitely think it's easier when you're a straight passing person. You know, I had a husband, I was with a man. It's really easy then, right? Because you don't feel afraid to hold your partner's hand in public. You don't feel worried about what people are going to think or say. There's no closeted feeling there. I get to pass as this and I'm safe.
Uh-oh. So while Jenni's computer is recalculating and recalibrating, welcome to the Parents of Queer Kids show. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Momatrician. I'm a pediatrician and life coach, and I work specifically with parents of, you guessed it, queer kiddos. I help those who are struggling with understanding and accepting themselves just along that journey to perdition, right? The road to perdition. I help them just kind of see their brains in action. I help them challenge their thought processes and their belief systems. And because I was them, because I have been them, because I know what it's like to struggle with this situation and not know what was happening. So I'm going to remove Jenni so that maybe she can come. Okay, she actually left by herself. But yeah, so I'm very happy to see two people watching. Let me know if you have any questions, any concerns, and we're happy to take your questions. So just so you know, Jenni is a mom of not one, but two queer kiddos. One of them is transgender. The other one is still gender exploring, and we're going to get to that in a minute. I happen to be queer myself. I'm bisexual. I have been married to my ex-husband, and I have an ex-wife, and I am one of the few people you're going to meet that will ever say that in one sentence. I have an ex-husband and I have an ex-wife. Welcome back.
My laptop died.
That's okay. I heard the ding ding,
but not the wall. I could die 1,000 deaths.
No, you can't. This is because it's live. This is
right.
live, and then you know I'm the quintessential show host because you know what? I just kept going like nothing happened. Yes, that's it. So welcome back, and I was doing a little synopsis of where we are today.
Yeah.
Let me just finish that. So Jenni is a mom of not one but two queer kiddos. The show is never about the queer kiddos; it's about the parents' journey. So for those of you who are wondering, oh my God, nope, it's never my story to tell. It is always my child's story to tell. But I am intricately involved in their story. And so I'll talk about my own part of the story. And that's what Jenni is talking about. So Jenni has kind of told us how she got here. She was raised in Oklahoma by relatively conservative parents who, well, talked about Adam and Eve and Adam and Steve. right? But they did not create a hostile environment, is
Right.
what Jenni says. And as a result, she was able to explore her sexuality even while living at home in Oklahoma. Now, she's thinking that if she had officially come out, it may not have been as non-hostile, but she was smart enough to keep it outside. Like most parents say that, oh, I'm okay with that as long as you don't bring it home.
Yeah.
So what are you saying in essence, right?
Right.
And then Jenni kind of talked about an episode on Schitt's Creek, which I have never really seen, but my child was like addicted to it at one time. And there was a quote in the show: "I love the wine, not the label." And we're talking about why it's okay to not always want to box someone. We are humans. We are
Right.
multifaceted. It's impossible for any one person to just be one thing. And that's what I want you all to celebrate, the fact that we are a diverse group of humans and it is okay. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's so okay, it doesn't make any sense. All right, I'm done with my little synopsis. Carry on, Jenni.
Oh dear. Well, it's never a dull moment with me.
No, ma'am, never. And it shouldn't be. It should not be.
Never.
And y'all listen to me. If you can hear this and you would like to vote on yay or nay for Dr. Lulu and Jenni to have a podcast, type in the comment section and let's hear what you have to say. And it might even happen. But for now, Jenni is my guest. So Jenni, bring us to, you've told us about the first marriage, the second marriage, and now the kids. How did that?
So first marriage, I have kids right away. I was not trying to wait, I guess. And, my ex-husband is definitely also pretty conservative. I can't seem to escape them. I attract conservative people. And, we had these kids and I don't know that I had so much a plan, like, oh, if they come out, here's what's going to happen. But it was in the back of my head. This may be my kids. They may have friends who are LGBTQ one day. What example am I going to be? If I have one goal as a parent, what is it? When I leave this world, what do I want to have left my children with? And I had decided a long time ago, even before I had kids, that I was going to leave them as compassionate, empathetic people, because everything else can be taught. They can go to school and learn science. They can go to school and learn a skill. They can, but people neglect to teach compassion and empathy explicitly because we just assume, oh, kids are these really sweet people. Aren't they kind? And they're innocent and they're all these things. Sure they are. They're this blank slate that we get to imprint upon. And you'll see little children who will say very hurtful racist things, very hurtful homophobic things. That's not because they're racist or homophobic. That's because they've heard that and that's being imprinted upon them. And they're starting to develop that.
Children are products of their environment. And
right.
Yes, whether they cannot be, they can't be that innocent if you're pumping them with right. hate, So
it was important to me that, do I just teach them that, to be compassionate with people, to be understanding that their experience isn't the only experience. And I started early with things like picture books. We would look at books together and I would say, well, how is this person feeling? They would say sad. I'd say, well, how do you know that? And they'd say, oh, she's crying. Well, what do you think made her cry? Oh, she lost her balloon. Oh, do you think there's anything we can do? How do you feel if you lose your toy? Oh, I feel sad. Oh, I bet they feel sad. Do you think there's anything we can do to be helpful? Oh, we can give them a hug. We can share our toys. Just taking that time to do that, it helps them to recognize things like facial expressions, social cues. It helps them to understand sometimes there's nothing you can do for someone except be a friend. But those things, I just don't think a lot of people spend time doing. And we just assume that we're going to have these kids who understand compassion and empathy. And they're just going to absorb whatever we've taught. They're going to go out into school and there's school bullies and there's people who make fun of the, heavy kid. They're already getting that. So knowing that they're up against that and what's being shoved down their throats in that way with their most influential peers, I have to be their most influential person. So I have to.
Well, you know what? You are right. I don't know if you've heard me say this a lot. I always say to parents, you're not the most important person in your child's life. And then they look at me like that. I said, no, you're the most influential person in your child's life. You're not the most important person, because everybody should always be the most important person to themselves.
Yeah.
So in their own lives, I am the most important person, but I'm the most influential person in my child's life. And that's why what you said or what you did was so, I didn't do that. I did not do that. I did not think about even doing that, teaching them compassion. I think I did, but maybe not as organized, you know. And this is why books are important. This is why banning books doesn't make any sense. Is America, are we regressing or what? Like, I don't get it.
It sure
Like,
seems like it. And I've looked at some of the books on these banned books lists, and I'm like, why?
Dr. Seuss' book is on the banned list.
Why?
All the places we can go is on the banned list.
I heard that the Lorax was on there too.
Like, hello, how is that? Yeah.
What?
You know, Captain Underpants is on the list.
Give me
my kids love Captain Underpants. Yes. They grew up reading Captain Underpants. I don't know. I'm sure Archie is on the comics is on the. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Like, hello. Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Y'all, whatever your kids want to view, or even what they don't want to view, they're gonna view.
They're gonna view it. Hello, yes.
You know, my
it's called Kindle. They're gonna download the book on Kindle. They're gonna read the book. So I don't know.
They're gonna see so many things. You know, my kids were exposed to pornography really early. And it was, you know, because of a friend's cell phone. And all I need to do was go, okay, let's get real about this. That's not what sex is normally like. Let's talk about this. You know, you just have to approach things without losing your damn mind.
Yeah. So we're talking about creating.
They're gonna see stuff. Let's have conversations around it.
They're going to. So we're talking about creating safe spaces at the home front. So books is one. What other ways can we create safe spaces on the home front, Jenni?
I think watching our language and not being afraid to say something when someone else says something that's disparaging or homophobic or racist or whatever. Understanding that little it's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. We think that's so innocuous, and we don't think it's quite as overt as I hate gay people, but it is.
It implants. Yes,
there. Your kid hears that. There's something wrong with that. It's unnatural. That's not how God made me. My family loves God. I want my family to love me, so therefore I have to be whatever God wants. You know, I perceive this God wants me to be. And it's just sending all these little messages to them instead of, you know what, there's all sorts of different people. Or when we see two, you know, gay parents together with their kid, just being able to say things that are not just, oh, I'm just going to avoid it. I'm just going to not talk about it. No, you need to talk about it. You don't need to, hey, what do you think they're doing in bed at night?
I know.
Not any of that. Just
and even that
happy family, you know.
But even that aspect, I always say, when you see a man and a woman walking down the street, you're not ever thinking, what are they doing in the bedroom?
No.
When did being LGBT only fizzle down to that piece?
Right.
People don't realize that there's an I in there. Yeah. I is intersex. It has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with their chromosomes and their external genitals. It has nothing to do with their bedroom. We have people who are asexual, who actually are averted. Right. So it's people just, you don't know what you don't know. And for some reason, being LGBT has completely just been brought down to mean one thing and one thing only, sex. Or actually worse, pedophilia. Right. You know, which is it's just so unfair. We have a transgender child. What has that got to do with pedophilia?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I am more than what I do in my bedroom.
Hello.
I'm an entire person. I
love that. I love that when you see a same gender couple, if you don't want to overtly celebrate them, just let your kids see that this is another alternative. This is an alternative way of being parents. And like you mentioned,
smile when you see them.
When you see them, yes. Don't take your kids and go hide them
away. Don't make a face. Just
yes,
chill out, because they pick up on every single thing.
And even when you're silent, even when you're silent,
approval, so they're going to mimic you. Absolutely. I think another
parents, it doesn't get any better. Is that more better? Any better than that? You are the influencer of your child. Please, Jordan Arnett said, Boom, 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 boom to target. Yes, thank you
Yes.
so much. You, as parents, you are the most influential people in your child's life.
Right.
And I always say this, I have made all the mistakes so that you don't have to make any mistakes. And I know you don't believe me, but let me show you. Let me tell you the 3 mistakes that I made. Jenny, you want to hear the 3 mistakes that I made?
Lay it on me, Dr. Lulu.
The first one I made was I didn't believe when my child said that they were non-binary. I'm like, what's that? What do you mean? I thought you were just gay. What are you sure? Let me tell you, are you sure are the top 3 words that should never go together when your child tells you who they really are.
Right.
Because you will never ask your heterosexual child that. So I always say, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If it's good for the geese, it's good for the gizzard, like I like to say. Okay. So if you're not going to ask your heterosexual child, are you sure?
Right.
Don't do that. Okay. So I did that. Okay. And then when she said she was transgender, I lost it. I was like, wait. What is the transgender thing? I mean, what do you mean? Like right away, my mind went to someone is going to kill my child. Because in America, Black trans women, as you know, have the highest rate of homicides on them. So I did that. That was the first mistake. The second mistake was, believe it or not, what you were saying, I used to see America's top model and always hate on Miss J. I was like, why does he have to be so gay? Why does he have to be so gay? Oh my God. And I said that, and my wife, did you hear what I said? My wife, my now ex-wife, but she would be like, yeah, we'll high five each other. Like, why does he have to be so? And we never thought that my kid was watching and then she was like, I'm never going to tell these people who I am because look at what they're doing.
Yes. Yeah.
So I want you to know that I'm not saying this because I'm proud. I'm saying it with my full chest because I did it. I'm not going to hide and lie.
Right.
But Queen Maya Angelou said, you keep doing your best until you know better, then you do better. So now I know better, but I have to tell you, it's my story. The third one, and maybe the worst one, I think she said to me, Mom, of all the things you did or didn't do, I took my child to my friend who is a pastor for prayers. I used to not be able to say that. I used to feel so ashamed to even say those words, but I did it. I did it to my kid because the whole time I was wondering about myself, me. What are people going to say? What are people going to think? So I was like, oh my God. And I was dating this guy then. And he said to me, you must take that child. It's a spiritual warfare. And I was like, oh my God. And I knew what I was doing was wrong. But let me tell you right now, I wanted this guy to like me, to love me, to be with me, and I went against my own child. Yes. So when I speak that this is the things, these are just the three that I remember, right? That I wanted, because I don't want to talk about all, but these are things that parents are doing every day. So I beg you, I got lucky that my child didn't, wasn't maybe suicidal or, worse, but not every parent is that lucky.
Yeah.
So I beg you, do not make the mistakes. I'm talking about mistakes. I have a free PDF on my website. I'm going to put the link. Just click on it, go grab the PDF, download it. You see 7 more mistakes because there are more. Maybe the next episode, Jenny, we'll talk about the mistakes that parents make. We'll talk more. But today I wanted to focus on creating safe spaces. So those 3 things do not create safe spaces. What else can parents do, Jenny, to create safe spaces at home? Thank you so much.
My one story in particular, a member of my family had purchased a book, and the book is called When Harry Became Sally. And it is an anti-trans book.
What? It's anti?
It's anti. And I believe this family member, this was before my child had come out, and I believe this family member was trying to understand what he saw as maybe this like new fad phenomenon, whatever. And he just ended up getting a piece of literature that was, kind of that confirmation bias that said what he wanted to believe, which was, that this is unnatural, that this is this. And this family member at one point we had gone to visit him, and that he was trying to kind of get me to look at it, get me to read it. He would leave it out. I don't think he was leaving it out to be, again, unkind, overtly, whatever, but he did. And, again, this is before my child has even come out. I said, I don't want to read that. That is anti-trans propaganda. I don't want to read things that's not even written by a trans person. It doesn't take any kind of trans person's experience into account. It's just one cis, straight, conservative person's take on a very serious, personal, complex thing. And so I saying those things and doing those things in front of my children sends the message that I'm not here for that, and we're not here for that. I didn't do that probably on purpose. It did just kind of come naturally to me. But I do know that we can do those things on purpose, that when Uncle Bob says something homophobic at the table, we can say, hey, man, can we not?
Can we
It
not?
doesn't have to become a debate. It doesn't have to become an argument. It can just be as simple as, please don't. We don't need
and just say with a note of finality, and that's it. And I love that. I mean, of course, there are many ways.
And then
there are many ways to say it, but I love
at another time and say, I know what Uncle Bob said earlier. Do you know what that word means? Do you know anybody like that? Okay, here's why we don't use that. Nothing we can do about Uncle Bob. We can still love Uncle Bob, but that's not okay. And I don't want you to take that language outside of this home. I don't want you to think that's okay. That's not what we stand for in our home. And just, if you have to have guiding principles in your world, and our guiding principle is just compassion. And I have to, if I want my kids to be like that, then I have to bring it up. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to call somebody out. I don't want to have a fight with Uncle Bob at the Thanksgiving table. Everybody already knows me in the family as the black sheep, as the weird one, as the different one. I'm not trying to draw attention, but I am trying to show my kids, if somebody says that about you, I'm not going to let them get away with it. If somebody says that about your friend, we're not going to stand for that. We tell our kids, I even know very conservative people who think bullying is wrong. Teach your kids to stand up to bullies. That's a type of bully. Mm-hmm. Teach your kids to say, hey, that's not cool. Hey, why did you say that? Or whenever they make a joke, I don't get it. I don't get it. Explain that joke to me. Get uncomfortable.
Yeah, I love that. I watched a TEDx talk. This black lady, I forget her name. She said how to engage conversations like that. You tell them, you lean in and say, oh, really? Tell me more. Yeah. And by saying, tell me more, you're showing them that, first of all, you heard them. Secondly, did you hear yourself? Yeah. And then when you tell them to tell me more and they know that what they said is not right, then they'll be like, just like you said, I don't get that joke. Like, explain it to me. Tell me more.
And they can certainly be very convicted, and they can try to tell you more. And you kind of got to learn to read it and be like, I'm shutting it down. I don't want to hear it.
Yes. I'm for shutting it down.
Yeah. I'm not.
She said, tell me more, but I thought that's an interesting concept. But I'm for no. You know what? We're not going to tolerate that. Right. And if it means you leaving, your child needs to see you standing up for them. Right. And I think
absolutely. I truly. Now, my kid was in therapy for a full almost 2 years before he came out. Wow. So, I know that his therapist helped him do that, but I know that he knew that our home was a safe space. I had LGBTQ friends. I talked about them when the news would come on. That's another thing too. If you're over at families for holidays and you got Fox News on with a 5-year-old and they're saying things about the gay agenda, what? Your 5-year-old doesn't need to see the news. The news is not any place for a 5-year-old, first of all. Ask people to turn off the damn TV, or
put a Hallmark, Lifetime, something, anything.
Put on Bluey, man.
So I love that.
Those things would pop up on the TV because you got to remember 2016 was a crazy year for everybody in this country. And things would come on and I would make my point known. That's not a nice thing to say. We don't say that. Yes. We don't stand for that. Yes. That's not okay. They saw me get active. They knew that I went to the Pride Parade. I didn't necessarily take them the first time I went to Pride.
Oh, you know what? That's great. That's another thing. Yes, that's another thing you can do. So you could take. So based on you said, first of all, call it out. Just call out. Number one. Number two, books are great. The right books, because it looks like when Harry became, I just thought it was I thought it was a good book. I didn't know that. So books, but the right books. And TV, if you see, call out TV shows. And then also in the same vein, encourage watching TV shows of diversity that show diverse families and things like that. And that, I guess with TV comes radio and podcasts, right? And Absolutely. Then this one going to Pride events. let your kids see that you are not anti-pride events, even if you don't take them to.
Right. Even if you don't take them,
I like that.
let your kids see that you love and accept people.
Yes, yes. And I think when it comes to pride events, I'm going to say it depends on the age of the child.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, a good 11-year-old, even a 5-year-old, I mean, whatever age.
We're usually family appropriate, but I've heard some people get on there and say, well, the leather daddies shouldn't be out there. Listen, that's their pride event. Okay. People died for their right to be out there in leather.
Exactly.
Piss off with don't try to tone police the pride parade. If you don't think it's appropriate, don't go. But you don't need to tone somebody else's what people died for.
Yes.
No, I'm not here for that. So, okay, that's fine. You don't have to do that, but you can, you can fly your own little rainbow flag. At the very least, just withhold disparaging remarks. If you see that, give it a smile, give it a good for them. If your kid wants to talk about it, but you just withhold your, the cruel remarks. Oh, why are they doing that? Oh, that's nasty. Oh, then don't worry about it. Creating the safe space, if you can't find it in yourself to be affirming and loving, for the love of God, at least just don't be crappy.
Yeah, don't be hostile.
Start there.
For me, this was the word of the show, hostile. Like, just do not create a hostile environment. And I did that. And I have had to learn how to forgive myself for doing that, because your child doesn't also need you to be like, oh God, I did this. Oh my, when you use the wrong pronoun, just move on. Oh my God, that's another day's show.
Absolutely.
Jenni, I cannot wait to have you back. This was amazing. It's already 40 minutes. The whole plan was to just have 20 minutes at the most, maybe 30, but it's 40 minutes. We're going to try to go for the hour if we can, but I thank you to those people watching. I don't know who the second person was. I saw Arnett Jordan, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please type in the comment section. This was so good, Jenni. I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know it was going to be this good. So I appreciate you coming. Before I let you go, what will you say? Just one thing you would say, number one, to your younger self, and then number two, to parents who may, like you and I, find their kids either exploring their gender, exploring their sexuality, or come out as one thing or the other, not straight and not cis. So let's start with your child. What would you say to young Jenni? Yes.
I would just say, you're okay, kiddo. Like, you are okay. I just never knew I was okay, but there's so much more to that. There's just so many things that I look back on, and I just didn't know that I was just okay as is. I just felt like such a weirdo, and like I did not understand other people, and other people did not understand me. And I think even if I told myself, you're okay, I don't think myself would believe me.
Exactly. I was waiting for that. Yes.
I think I would just have to go through everything.
But Jenni, you had a pretty decent upbringing in the sense that it was relatively wild, a little bit.
It was.
And I'm not trying. We're not comparing, but I'm just saying I went to an all-girls high school boarding school, so I was at a buffet.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
And I couldn't eat of the buffet. It was terrible. Growing up between the ages of 11 and 16, in Nigeria, we have a British system. So you go to high school at 11 and graduate at 16 for 5 years. And I was embedded with women.
Yeah.
And I
couldn't. Oh, no, I would have been the absolute, they would have kicked me out. They would have kicked me out. You'd have found me in people's bedroom. I mean, I was just a wild one. I was a wild one.
Oh my God, I'm so excited, Jenni. And Jenni, we need to meet in the New Year's, and we're going to talk about this off camera. But I'm so excited to meet you, to know you. I am honored.
I love knowing you.
I'm happy. I know you're going to come back. I just know it. It's going to be fun. We need to educate people, and people need to know. And if anybody's going to educate them, it's got to be queer people who are also parents, because that's who I recognize your child, and then I recognize you.
Yeah.
And I recognize your mistakes, and I recognize your child's wants and your child's needs. Yeah. So if anybody was chosen by God to do this work, it's me. So thank you so much for coming and just blessing the space today.
Thank you for having me.
What are you going to say to parents who may or may not find themselves suddenly in this world of
Yeah.
parents of a queer child?
Well, I would say, I remember when I was pregnant and people would say, "Oh, do you hope it's a boy or a girl?" And I would say, "It doesn't matter to me. I hope it's a healthy, happy child." And I meant that. That was a real statement. And so for me to say then that, if my child, by my perspective, changed, which he didn't, he was always who he was, but the expression changed, the expectation or whatever changed. That still didn't change. Like, I just wanted him to be a healthy, happy child, and that means that I have to love him fully as who he is. It's not even something that I have to do. It's something that comes very natural to me. But to remember that I didn't have a child to make a second me. I know, we have to know, when we have children, we are making a whole new person. This person with their own experiences and own feelings, thoughts, beliefs, they are going to become this person. And I'm just here to kind of keep them alive and hopefully guide them in some way to have some values that are important, which are things like compassion and wisdom and, kindness and mercy and honesty, openness, things like that. But this is just this own person. And, to just recognize as they go through these things, we're just here to walk through it all together. People have asked me, what if he changes his mind? Well, first of all, I really doubt that's going to happen. Get that out of your head. Don't worry.
I know.
Don't worry about that. Whatever he is right now is what he is right now, and it's perfect.
Yes.
I'm just
yes.
it and love it. And whatever he is, I'm not who I was 6 years ago.
Hello. Nobody remains the same. I love it. I'm here
what
for
he
it.
is, and it's
and even if the child changes, let's just say the child does change. I love you anyway.
Yeah, we're going to walk through that together too. But it's the biggest thing I tell my kids every day. Whatever happens, you never have to walk through it alone. We will walk through it together. And they have the right to be wrong. God knows I've been wrong. They have a right to make mistakes. They have a right to learn from those mistakes. Give your children the dignity of just figuring out who they are and just love them in the midst of it, because it's all going to work out. It really is. I want my kid to know you can always come home. There's always a safe place for you here. There's always going to be somebody to believe you here. There's always going to be somebody who is going to celebrate you here. Otherwise, they're going to go find it elsewhere, and you don't always know what that elsewhere entails. When I hear about LGBTQ youth living on the streets and in homelessness, that is where things like sex trafficking happen.
Yes.
That is where some really dangerous stuff happens. And they are trying to be there and love each other in that community and keep each other safe. But we should have been that first place. They shouldn't be out there trying to create that. We should be that place. That if it's not them who comes out, it might be one of their friends. And I'm honored to know that whenever my kids' friends are going through that, my kid brings them here and is like, you have a second mom here. You have a safe place here. My gosh, they need that, because they will go get it somewhere else. And you don't know what that something else is. It could be a very unsafe situation. So, that would be, do you want your kid to be alive? Like,
exactly. Do you want flowers? I mean, what can I just go ahead and choose your flowers, choose your casket. And I know how that sounds, and I'm saying it with my full chest. Go and choose your casket today. Oh my God, we could go on and on. Jenni, thank you so much. How can the people find you and follow you and support the work that you do?
Well, I am on LinkedIn. LinkedIn it's just Jenni Holder, JenniHolder. I host a Humans of LinkedIn hour every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Really, we just talk about whatever. It's kind of a midweek break to just be silly, to just talk about maybe some really cool humans or a really cool piece of history or a fun, thing that, what am I trying to say? Recent. I don't know what the word is. Current events. So we just get on there and be silly about lots of things. You can find me there every Wednesday night, but that's where I usually am. I'm on some other social media. I've got a TikTok. I've put 2 things on, but I don't really get on much other than like LinkedIn and these. And, hopefully you'll find me back on here with Dr. Lulu again sometime.
Yes, it's gonna happen because you're so much fun. We have so much to talk about. Like you're talking, and my brain is just like, oh my god, yeah, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about that. We need to talk
Making
about
little notes, right?
We need to, yeah. So we need to take more notes because we have within this. I'm going to come back and watch this, and I know that there's 7 other shows,
right,
from just this one.
Exactly.
And that was what I wanted, to be able to have a space for parents of queer kids. I don't think there's any show that's for them, not because we want to say, oh my God, it's okay for you to not accept your child, but because we want to say, we see you,
right?
We know who you are, we know your journey. Come along, let's go. Whether whether you are fully accepting or not, but or not fully. But if you're not accepting, then I truly don't want you. I mean, right. I'm just going to come out and say it because I'm accepting. So not because it's easy, but because it's doable. Jenni, you have been amazing. I feel like there's one more question I had for you. Jenni, tell us something fun, something weird, something crazy. That was supposed to be your icebreaker. That's supposed to be your icebreaker, and I forgot. So
there's many fun, weird, crazy things.
Something crazy. Something weird that about you that most people do not know, Jenni, before you.
I wouldn't say it's a weird or crazy thing, but I do like to talk about it openly because it's a very important topic to me. I am a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for 6 years, and I'm always available to help, talk, support, love on anyone who is struggling with drinking or whose loved one does. And I think that a lot of what I owe my life to today is a program that taught me how to be open, how to be honest, how to be willing, and how to really take a deeper look at myself and go, when I react to something, what is going on with me? Why am I reacting that way? And I think that that's something that parents of queer kiddos can absolutely use whenever those feelings come up, because they come up in me. They come up today. This is not my kid came out and everything's lived happily ever after. I make mistakes today. My son told me just the other day, Mom, I don't want to just be the trans kid. I don't want to just be the trans son or the trans grandchild. He was like, I just want to be the child still. Like, that's not all that is about me. And it really kind of made me realize why he can still feel uncomfortable just around the whole family sometimes. So I'm still learning, and I'm looking back at the things that I do and going, did I facilitate that in some way? Or whenever these little ideas pop into my head about maybe how my kids should be or how anybody should be, to be able to question myself and go, why am I thinking that way? I learned that in a program of recovery. So
yeah, I love that. Why am I thinking this way? Such a powerful, and that actually, believe it or not, is the crux of my online course. Why do you think this is? So I'm all about unlearning all the untruths, because there are lots and lots of them.
It's almost always ego. It's almost always the ego. Oh, I hate that.
Of course, it's always ego.
Fear
is because you're making it about you at that moment. You're making it about you. And talking about your kid, which I think y'all two should write a book, by the way, because you know what you wrote on LinkedIn this week that I think it went viral. It was so powerful. One thing I want parents to know, that everything does not revolve around your child's transness or your child's sexuality. It's not the gay doctor, it's the good doctor. I'm just the doctor. I mean, it's not the gay doctor, the black doctor, the woman doctor. It's not that.
Right.
I'm just a doctor.
Right.
It's just a child. It's not my trans child or my, and how would you like if somebody's, the big nose lady? I don't know. How would you feel?
Right. Whenever my son was he goes to a diversity health clinic to help him with, all of his health needs now, but he is, treated by the whole staff is LGBTQ. And his dad said, well, I'd like you to take him to a different doctor for a different opinion. And I said, why? Like, this doctor went to medical school. They didn't go to gay medical school. They went to medical school. It's a doctor. It's just my son feels more comfortable around this person that he knows he can really identify with. But,
I love it. Actually, I plan on doing that when I move to San Diego next year. I'm going to open a pediatric clinic, a small pediatric clinic, and I'm only going to take care of LGBT plus kids.
I love it.
And I'm saying that with my full chest. I'm not going to be a doctor for LGBT kids. In other words, I'm not going to necessarily do affirming care.
Right.
I'm just their doctor.
Right.
In other words, if they have a headache and a sore throat and strep throat, I'm taking care of them. But
it's just so nice to have somewhere to go
yes,
where my son doesn't have to continuously explain,
that's
these are
it.
my pronouns, this is my name. He doesn't have to do any of that. He just
That's
gets to
it.
go, be himself, and feel safe and secure.
That's it.
That.
And that's what I realized. I said, if I wasn't moving, I would have started it in Texas today, like right now.
Yeah.
But I do want to move. I am going to move, and I'm going to start at what they call a direct primary care practice, where it's cash only, X amount of dollars per month, and you can come however number of times you want to. And
I think that's wonderful.
I'm so excited. But Jenni, we've got 5 minutes on the clock. You have been amazing. AHMAYZEEN. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it, Jenni. You are just
Well, it was an absolute pleasure. I love our t-shirts. We should kind of show off our t-shirts.
Yes.
Closet, be yourself.
Yes. And check this out. Look at the back of my t-shirt.
Ask me how. Hashtag parent ally. Love it.
Oh my goodness. So if you'd like one of these t-shirts, Jenni, if you'd like a t-shirt, let me know.
A t-shirt. Where do I go?
My ex-wife makes them. Yeah. I mean, yes. My ex-wife actually makes them.
Okay.
So yes. So Annette says, "Oh, as a Texas mama, I'm so sad you're leaving. We would have loved something like that here. So needed."
Yeah.
So the funny thing is that I still have my Texas license to practice medicine. And you never know. My baby goes off to college next fall, wants to go to UT Austin.
Mine too.
So I might. I don't know. I'm still here. I might do that because I know the day I start, my door will be full. My waiting room will be full because I've done it before. I only did it for suicidal teenagers, and it was amazing. And then we had the lockdown, and I had to shut it down. But this time around, I want to do it only for LGBT kids. I'm just going to be their doctor so they can come and see other queer kids in the waiting room.
That's right.
And then, of course, the selfish part is I'm going to see their parents, which is who I coach. Okay. So it's a win-win. So you never know. Annette, keep praying for me. I might even do it in Texas. But
oh my gosh, I would love to come join you. My parents are moving from Texas right now. They've been trying to get me to Texas for years, and I finally talked them into moving here to Oklahoma.
Oh no,
that's all right. It's not far.
Well, you know what? I might go to California and I might hate it. I doubt it because I'm going to San Diego, but I might hate it.
Oh, I'm willing to visit you there, though.
I don't know. You're coming to me. There's no question. You're coming.
No question.
But Annette Jordan, I want to tell you about my retreat, which Jenni is going to be coming to.
Yes.
So Annette, if you'd like to, we have a brand new, first ever of its kind retreat ever in the history of mankind, only for parents of queer kids. Yes, because I can. So Annette Jordan, if you go to my website and put /retreat, just look at it. The $500 off ends on the 31st. Okay. So go get it. Go get your, just do the down payment. That's it. And then think about it. Yep. But we have a retreat coming up. It's going to be in Texas. And so is it your other wife? Who did you say was coming? Who is your other parent?
So actually, no, it's actually my bonus mom, my dad's wife.
What's the bonus? Yeah, what's the bonus mom?
Well, she's my stepmother, but she's just a bonus. She's not really, I don't know.
Oh, okay, now I get it. I thought it was your ex-husband's wife.
No, my God.
It was a bonus mom. But this is why we ask questions for clarity. I'm so excited.
To find your terms. Yeah, she is my bonus mom, and I know that she really wants to affirm and support, my kiddo.
And Jordan, Annette Jordan, I keep calling her Jordan. Annette, if you would like to see Jenni and Dr. Lulu have a podcast for parents of queer kids, just type in the comment section because we have an amazing chemistry, as you can see, and you never know. So Jenni, everything has to come to an end. I will see you on LinkedIn.
All right.
I'm going to share this. It's been amazing. It was supposed to be 20 minutes, Jenni.
Look at us go.
An hour later.
The fun never stops.
An hour later. What? 20 minutes. And look where we are. So we got 3 episodes out of this, which is beautiful.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Of course. And it should be. So I will see you all later.
All right.
Peace, love, and soul. So join us next Thursday for another live episode at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for the Parents of Queer Kids show. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Momatrician, pediatrician, and life coach for parents of queer kids. Hasta luego. Hasta luego. See you later. Bye. I don't know what I'm saying.
Bye, friends.
Bye, honey. Oh my goodness. That was amazing.
That was super great.